So, you want to know about the human? Fine. Sit down, order another drink, and let me tell you about the most frustrating, terrifying, and downright bizarre experience of my entire career as a tournament organizer. My name is Vrek, by the way. Vrek Tolan 5, head coordinator for the Galactic Combat Championships. Been doing this for 93 cycles, seeing thousands of warriors from hundreds of species. Thought I had seen, then Marcus Reeves showed up. Now, before you start thinking this is one of those stories where the human comes in and dominates everyone through sheer superiority, let me stop you right there. That is not what happened. Not even close. What happened was so much weirder, so much more unsettling, that even now, 2 cycles later, I still wake up in the middle of the night wondering what exactly I witnessed. The Galactic Combat Championships, for those of you who somehow do not know, is the premier fighting tournament in this sector of space. Every cycle, the best warriors from every registered species compete for glory, honor, and a prize pool that could buy a small moon. We are talking about Kryn berserkers who can tear through reinforced steel with their bare claws, Axian combat specialists, with forearms and reaction times measured in microseconds. Orlax heavy fighters who can shrug off plasma rounds like they are raindrops. And humans. Well, humans were new. Earth had only joined the galactic community 15 cycles ago, and frankly nobody expected much from them. They were small compared to most warrior species. Slow compared to the speed fighters. Fragile compared to the heavy tanks. Their bone density was laughable. Their muscle fibers were adequate at best. They lacked natural weapons, armor, or any significant biological advantages. But they kept showing up, kept trying, kept losing in the first or second rounds. It was almost sad, really. Admirable, sure, but sad. Then the application from Marcus Reeves crossed my desk. I remember reading his bio and rolling my primary eyes. Another human trying to prove something. His record showed 3 years of training in various Earth combat sports. Decent but not impressive by galactic standards. He had never competed off-world before. No enhanced modifications. No cybernetic augmentations. Just a baseline human male, age 28 standard cycles, mass approximately 82 kilograms. The medical scans came back clean but unremarkable.
Everything about him.
Screamed early elimination.
I approved his entry because...
Well, why not? We had spots to fill and humans always drew a crowd. People loved watching the underdog get crushed. Apparently, made them feel better about their own species' dominance. Tournament week arrived. The arena on Station Kellis 9 was packed, as usual. 70,000 sentients from across the sector, all crammed into the tiered viewing platforms, all screaming for blood and glory. The energy fields hummed. The medical teams stood ready. The bookmakers took their bets. Nobody, and I mean nobody, was betting on Marcus Reeves. I first saw him in person during the weigh-ins. He stood in line between a Kryn warrior named Garax, who was literally twice his height and probably 5 times his mass, and a 7-blade dancer called Xyla, whose forearms were already twitching with pre-fight adrenaline. Marcus looked calm, too calm. He was not bouncing on his feet like some fighters, not glaring at his opponents, not performing the ritual intimidation displays so many species favored. He just stood there, hands in his pockets, watching everyone with these dark, quiet eyes. When his turn came for the biometric scan, the technician asked him the standard question. What is your fighting style? Most warriors gave dramatic answers. Ren Death Rage. Sivan Blade Dance. Phyrexian Precision Combat. Things that sounded impressive and struck fear. Marcus shrugged. Mixed adaptation. The technician blinked all 3 of her eyes. Could you be more specific? Not really, no. That should have been my first warning sign. But like an idiot I did not pay attention. The tournament brackets were announced that evening. Marcus was matched against Torvik, a Vorthax heavy fighter in the opening round. I actually felt bad for the human. Vorthax have reinforced exoskeletons, redundant organs, and a pain tolerance that borders on ridiculous. They are specifically bred for combat. Fighting a Vorthax in round 1 was basically a death sentence for most species. The betting boards lit up. Torvik was favored 47-1. I saw a few humans in the crowd placing small, hopeful bets on their representative. Sentimental, but financially foolish. The night before the fights began, I was doing my usual rounds, checking on the athletes in their preparation chambers. Some were meditating, some were training, some were consuming pre-fight supplements or performing religious rituals. I found Marcus Reeves in the public gym, which was weird because most serious competitors avoided the public spaces. And what was he doing? Not strength training, not speed drills, not practicing strikes or grappling techniques. He was running on a treadmill, just running, at a steady, moderate pace. For over an hour, I later learned. I stopped to watch, because honestly, I was confused. Should you not be resting? I asked, conserving energy for tomorrow? He glanced at me without breaking stride, sweat dripping down his face. This is resting. Running is resting, compared to what I usually do? Yeah. Before I could ask what that meant, he cranked the treadmill speed up and kept going. I left, shaking my head. Humans were weird, but I already knew. Fight day. Round 1. The arena was absolutely electric with anticipation. 18 matches were scheduled throughout the day, each one a potential bloodbath of skill and violence. Marcus versus Torvik was match number 7. When Torvik entered the arena, the crowd roared. He was magnificent, standing at 2.8 meters tall, his exoskeleton gleaming under the lights. He performed the traditional Vorthax war stomp, which literally made the floor vibrate. The sound dampeners struggled to handle the volume of the crowd's approval. Then Marcus walked out. The crowd did not boo. That would have required them to take him seriously. Instead, they laughed. Actually laughed. Here was this small, soft-looking human in basic combat gear, walking toward a literal walking tank. It looked like a joke. Marcus did not react to the laughter, did not even seem to notice. He just stepped into the combat circle, rolled his shoulders once, and waited. The referee, a neutral Kelvin official, went through the standard rules. 10-minute time limit. Victory by knockout, submission, or ring-out. Lethal force discouraged but not prohibited. Medical teams, and standby. Fighters ready? Torvik slammed his fists together with a crack that echoed through the arena. Marcus nodded once. Begin! And here is where things got interesting. Torvik charged immediately, which was standard Vorthax tactics. Use superior mass and strength to overwhelm quickly. He came at Marcus like a freight transport, arms spread to grapple. Marcus did not meet the charge, did not even try to fight back. He just moved. Sideways, quick but not frantically, letting Torvik thunder past him like a missed punch. Torvik spun faster than most people expect Vorlax to move, and charged again. Marcus moved again. Different angle this time. The crowd started to boo now. They wanted combat, not dancing. Torvik snarled and switched tactics, throwing heavy strikes instead of charging. His fist, the size of Marcus's head, came down like a hammer. Marcus was not there. He had stepped back exactly far enough. Another punch, another miss, a sweeping kick that could have shattered bones. Marcus jumped over it with maybe 2 centimeters of clearance, and this continued. For 3 solid minutes, Marcus did absolutely nothing except not get hit. He did not strike back, did not attempt any offense, just moved, dodged, evaded, staying exactly 1 heartbeat ahead of Torvik's attacks. The crowd confusion was palpable. What was the human doing? Was he scared? Was this some kind of strategy? I was confused too. But then I noticed something. Torvik was breathing harder. His movements were getting slightly slower. Vorthax have incredible strength and durability, but endurance? Not their strong suit. Their combat doctrine relies on ending fights quickly. Marcus was not letting the fight end quickly. 4 minutes in, Torvik was visibly frustrated. His attacks were getting wilder, less precise. He was burning through his energy reserves, chasing a target that simply would not stand still. 5 minutes. Torvik was slowing down significantly now. His charges were shorter. His recovery time between attacks was longer. The crowd had gone from laughing to confused to actually engaged. What was happening? 6 minutes. Torvik threw a big overhand strike, putting everything into it. Marcus slipped to the side, and for the first time in the entire fight, he struck back. A quick, sharp punch to Torvik's extended elbow joint. Not hard enough to break anything, but precise enough to hit a nerve cluster. Torvik's arm spasmed. Before he could react, Marcus kicked the back of Torvik's knee. Again, not a power strike, just precise enough to hit the right spot. Torvik stumbled. Marcus swept his other leg. The mighty Vorlax heavy fighter hit the mat like a falling building. The impact actually registered on the arena's seismic sensors. And Marcus, he just stepped back, hands up, waiting. Torvik tried to get up. His body did not cooperate. 6 minutes of constant exertion had drained him. His muscles were not responding properly. The referee started the count. By the count of 8, Torvik managed to get to one knee, but his arms were shaking. His breathing was ragged. 10. Knockout. The arena went absolutely silent, then erupted into chaos. Marcus Reeves had just beaten a Vorthax heavy fighter without landing more than 3 strikes total. He had won by making his opponent beat himself through exhaustion. As medical teams rushed to check on Torvik, who was not injured but completely spent, Marcus simply walked out of the arena like he had just finished a light workout. I stood there, staring at the combat circle, trying to process what I had just witnessed. That was when I realized this human had not trained to win that fight. He had trained to survive it, and in surviving, he had found victory. The other fighters noticed too. I saw it in their faces as they watched the replay screens. The casual dismissal was gone. Now there was something else. Concern maybe, or recognition. The understanding that they were not dealing with another warrior trying to beat them at their own game. They were dealing with something different. Something patient. Something that would outlast them. In the preparation chambers that evening, I overheard a Kren fighter talking to her trainer. Did you see how he moved? He was not trying to damage Torvik at all until the end. He was studying him, waiting. Her trainer, a grizzled veteran of 17 tournaments, nodded slowly. Humans are endurance hunters on their homeworld. Yes, persistence predators. They do not chase prey down with speed. They just follow, and follow, and follow, until the prey collapses from exhaustion. You think that is what he was doing? I think we just saw a human hunt in the arena. And I think everyone here just became potential prey. I wanted to dismiss this as overthinking. But I could not shake the image of Marcus's calm face as Torvik had collapsed. There had been no triumph there. No satisfaction. Just the quiet acknowledgement of a job completed. The human did not celebrate his victory. Did not give interviews to the sports networks clamoring for his attention. He just went back to the public gym and got back on the treadmill. Running. Always running. When I checked the schedule for round 2, I felt a chill. Marcus was matched against Xyla, a Thexian combat specialist. 4 arms, enhanced reflexes, 15 years of tournament experience. She was ranked 7th in the entire competition. The bookmakers adjusted their odds. Marcus was still the underdog, but not by as much. 12-1 now. Some people were starting to believe. Round 2 was scheduled for 3 days later, giving fighters time to recover and strategize. During those 3 days, I watched Marcus's routine with growing fascination. He ran, he did bodyweight exercises. He practiced movement drills, but more than anything, he watched footage. Hours and hours of footage, not just of Xyla, but of everyone in the tournament. Every species, every fighting style. I asked him once why he spent so much time watching instead of training. His answer was simple. Cannot survive what you do not understand. Xyla was not going to make the same mistake Torvik made. When round 2 came, she entered the arena with a plan. Do not chase, control the distance, use superior reach and speed to pick the human apart from range. It was a good plan. It should have worked. The fight started, and Xyla immediately established her range, staying just far enough away that Marcus could not reach her, but close enough that her longer arms could strike. She peppered him with quick jabs and straight punches. Testing. Probing. Marcus took the hits. Actually took them, did not even try to dodge some of them. The crowd was confused again. Was he giving up? But I noticed something. Every time Xyla landed a strike, Marcus's expression changed. Just slightly. Like he was cataloging information. Recording data. 30 seconds in, after eating maybe a dozen punches, Marcus changed his stance. Just a little. A minor adjustment to his guard. Xyla's next jab missed by millimeters. She threw across. Marcus slipped it. A hook from her lower left arm. Marcus ducked under. She was fast, but now Marcus was matching her timing. He had downloaded her rhythm in 30 seconds of taking hits. Xyla realized the problem and switched patterns. Good adaptation. But Marcus was already adjusting again. 2 minutes in, they were at a stalemate. Xyla could not land clean hits anymore, and Marcus still was not mounting an offense. 3 minutes. Xyla started to get impatient. She was winning on points technically from those early strikes, but she could not finish, could not put the human down. 4 minutes. Her frustration was visible. She started throwing combinations, trying to overwhelm Marcus with volume, and that was when he struck. In the middle of a 4-punch combination, there was a gap. A tiny window of maybe 0.2 seconds where all 4 of Xyla's arms were extended and her center line was open. Marcus's fist went straight through that gap and caught her in the solar plexus. Not a knockout blow, but enough to disrupt her breathing. Before she could recover, he was inside her reach, too close for her long arms to be effective. He worked her midsection with short, efficient strikes, targeting the floating ribs, the liver, the diaphragm. Xyla tried to clinch, to use her 4 arms to tie him up, but Marcus had already studied Styxian anatomy. He knew where the nerve clusters were, where the pressure points sat. 30 seconds of infighting and Xyla's breathing was ragged. Her guard was dropping. Marcus stepped back, creating distance again. Xyla tried to pursue, but her body was not responding right. The body shots had done their work. She threw a desperation haymaker with all 4 arms. Marcus ducked under it, came up behind her, and kicked the back of her knee. She went down. This time she could not get back up in time. 10. Knockout. 2 fights. 2 victories. Both against superior opponents. Both won not through greater strength or speed, but through patience, precision, and endurance. The arena was not laughing anymore. After the fight, I finally cornered Marcus in the medical check station. "How?" I asked. "How are you doing this?" He looked at me with those quiet, dark eyes. "You spend your whole life knowing you are weaker than everything else out there. You learn to survive anyway. That is what humans do. We survive. But you are winning. Not just surviving." He shrugged. "Same thing. Really. You survive long enough, everyone else stops trying." Round 3. The quarterfinals. Marcus faced Korvan, a Kryn berserker. This was the fight everyone was waiting for. Kryn warriors were legendary. Their combat rage made them nearly unstoppable forces of nature. They could fight through injuries that would kill most species. They felt no fear, no hesitation. The odds were back up 8-1 against Marcus. But now, something had changed in the arena. People were not betting against him because they thought he was weak. They were betting against him because they were terrified of what it would mean if he won. If a human, a species everyone had dismissed as soft and slow, could beat a Kryn berserker, what did that say about everything we thought we knew? The fight was scheduled for the next day. That night I could not sleep. I kept thinking about what the Kryn trainer had said. Humans were persistence predators. They hunted by following, by outlasting. We had invited an apex predator to our tournament, and we had mistaken patience for weakness. The next morning, as I walked toward the arena, I saw Marcus doing his usual routine. Running. Always running. He saw me watching and slowed to a stop. Big fight today," I said. "They are all big fights. Korvan is different. Kryn berserkers do not quit. They do not get tired. Their combat rage keeps them going." Marcus nodded. "I know. Studied the footage. Read the medical files. And?" He smiled for the first time since I had met him. It was not a happy smile. It was the smile of someone who had found the answer to a very difficult problem. "Everything quits eventually," he said. "You just have to be patient enough to wait." And with that he went back to running. I stood there, watching this small, unremarkable human logging miles before a fight that might kill him, and I finally understood. Marcus Reeves had not trained to win the tournament. He had trained to survive it, one fight at a time, one opponent at a time, by outlasting, outthinking, and simply refusing to quit before everyone else did. He was going to break us, not through strength but through something far more terrifying. Inevitability. The fight was in 4 hours. I needed to warn someone. But who? And what would I even say? That humanity's greatest weapon was not their technology or their tactics. It was their stubborn, terrifying refusal to stop. Yeah, that would go over well. I headed to the arena wondering if I was about to watch history being made, or a massacre. With humans, I was starting to realize it was getting harder and harder to tell the difference. The arena was different that day. I could feel it the moment I stepped through the coordinator's entrance. The usual pre-fight excitement had been replaced by something heavier. Anticipation, yes, but also dread. 70,000 sentients packed into the viewing platforms, and every single one of them was wondering the same thing. Could the human actually do it? Could he beat a Kren Berserker? Or were we about to watch Marcus Reeves get torn apart? The medical teams had tripled their presence. Standard procedure for Kren fights. But still, the energy fields hummed at maximum power. The insurance assessors were nervously checking their actuarial tables. Everyone was preparing for violence on a scale we had not seen all tournament. I made my way to the coordinator's booth and pulled up Korvan's file on my terminal. His warrior, age 42 cycles, mass 170 kilograms, height 2.4 meters, 17 tournament appearances, 13 victories, 0 submissions, 0 tactical retreats. When Krelon fought, they fought until someone stopped moving. His medical profile was equally terrifying. Redundant cardiovascular system, enhanced bone density, pain receptors that could be voluntarily shut down during combat rage, healing factor that could close minor wounds in minutes. On paper, Marcus should not have stood a chance. On paper, this fight should have been over before it started, but I had watched 2 fights now. I had seen what Marcus did, and I was starting to suspect that paper did not mean much when humans were involved. The preliminary matches finished. The crowd's energy built. Bookmakers shouted final odds. 8-1 against Marcus. Some humans in the crowd were putting down serious currency now. Belief was spreading like a virus. Then the announcer's voice boomed across the arena. Quarterfinal match 3. From Earth, standing 1.8 meters tall, weighing 82 kilograms, with 2 victories by knockout, Marcus Reeves. The crowd's response was mixed. Cheers from the humans and the growing number of believers, uncertainty from everyone else. No laughter this time, though. That had died 2 fights ago. Marcus walked into the arena like he was going to the gym. Same calm expression, same quiet eyes. He rolled his neck once, shook out his arms, and waited. And his opponent, from the Kryn homeworld, standing 2.4 meters tall, weighing 170 kilograms, 13 tournament victories, the Crimson Fury, Korvan. The arena exploded. Korvan was a crowd favorite. When he entered, the viewing platforms actually shook from the stomping and cheering. He was massive, all corded muscle and scarred hide. His eyes already showed the beginning of combat rage, the glassy intensity that meant rational thorn was shutting down in favor of pure aggression. He roared. Not for show, not for intimidation. It was a genuine war cry that made several species in the front rows cover their auditory organs. Marcus did not flinch, did not react at all. Just watch. The referee, looking extremely nervous, went through the rules. I noticed he positioned himself much closer to the emergency exit this time. Fighters ready? Korvan dropped into a combat stance, claws extending from his fingertips. Marcus nodded. Begin. And Korvan charged. Not the tactical charge Torvik had used. This was pure berserker fury. He came at Marcus like a natural disaster given form and malice. I expected Marcus to dodge like before, to use mobility to frustrate his opponent. Instead, Marcus ran straight at Korvan. The crowd gasped. I gasped. What was he doing? At the last possible second, Marcus dropped into a slide, going under Korvan's outstretched arms like a runner stealing a base. He came up behind the berserker and immediately sprinted toward the arena wall. Korvan spun and gave chase. His speed was incredible for someone his size, but Marcus was not trying to outrun him. He was measuring distance. 10 meters from the wall, Marcus planted his foot in reverse direction, running straight back at Korvan. Korvan, committed to his charge, could not stop in time. They collided. Sort of. Marcus twisted at the last instant, using Korvan's own momentum against him, redirecting the berserker into the arena wall with a judo technique I had only seen in Earth combat footage. Korvan hit the reinforced barrier with a sound like a gong. The impact would have shattered bones in most species. He shook it off in 2 seconds and came at Marcus again. And again Marcus ran. Not away. In patterns, circles, zigzags. Always moving, always staying just ahead of Korvan's rage. 3 minutes in, I started to understand the strategy. Marcus was not trying to tire Korvan out physically. Kren berserkers could maintain combat rage for 15-20 minutes at full intensity, but combat rage was not infinite. It was a biological response, a flood of neurochemicals and hormones. And every biological response had a refractory period, a cooldown. The body could only maintain that level of intensity for so long before it had to reset. Marcus was trying to outlast the rage itself. 5 minutes. Korvan was still coming, still attacking, but I noticed micro changes. His movements were still powerful, but slightly less precise. The rage was starting to peak. 7 minutes. Korvan caught Marcus once, a glancing blow to the shoulder that sent the human tumbling. Marcus rolled with it, came up and kept moving. His left arm was hanging slightly wrong now, dislocated shoulder, probably. He did not stop, did not call for medical timeout, just switched his stance and kept running. 10 minutes. The bell rang for the end of the first round. Both fighters returned to their corners. I watched Marcus pop his shoulder back into place like he was adjusting a piece of equipment. Casual, routine, like this was not the quarterfinals of the most dangerous tournament in the sector. His corner team, 2 humans who looked almost as calm as he did, gave him water and checked his vitals. One of them said something. Marcus nodded, took a deep breath, and stood up. Round 2. Korvan came out still in combat rage, but I could see the signs now. The slight tremor in his hands. The way his eyes were a little less focused. The rage was burning through his system. His body was starting to pay the metabolic cost. Marcus did not run this time. He engaged. Short exchanges, 3 or 4 strikes, then disengagement. Testing, probing, looking for the moment. 12 minutes total fight time. Korvan threw a massive overhand strike. Marcus did not dodge. He stepped into it inside the arc of the punch and drove his elbow into Korvan's floating rib. The berserker barely noticed. He grabbed Marcus in a bear hug, those massive arms wrapping around the human's torso. The crowd was on its feet. This was it. Grin could crush reinforced steel in a bear hug. Marcus was done. Except Marcus was not struggling. He was not panicking. He brought his arms up not to break the hold but to position them. Then he slammed both palms into Korvan's ears simultaneously. The berserker's grip loosened. Just for a second. Just enough. Marcus dropped his weight, slipped out of the hold and landed 3 quick strikes to Korvan's knee. The same knee over and over with brutal precision. Korvan staggered. 13 minutes. I saw it happen. The exact moment Korvan's combat rage finally broke, his eyes cleared slightly. The neurochemical high crashed, and his body suddenly remembered every bit of damage it had taken, every calorie it had burned, every second of maximum exertion. He tried to throw another punch. His arm barely came up. Marcus moved in. Not with rage. Not with fury. With the calm, methodical efficiency of someone completing a necessary task. Body shot. Liver kick. Leg sweep. Korvan went down. He tried to rise. Tried to reignite the combat rage. But his body would not cooperate anymore. The biological debt had come due. 10. Knockout. The arena was silent for 3 full seconds. Then, chaos. Absolute chaos. Cheers, screams, shock, disbelief. Currency was changing hands at a furious rate. The bookmakers looked like they were having heart attacks. A human had just beaten a Krynan berserker, not through superior strength, not through tricks or weapons, or technology, through patience, through understanding, through simply surviving long enough for biology to take its course. As medical teams swarmed the arena, checking on both fighters, I saw Marcus wave off the doctors trying to treat his shoulder. He walked out under his own power, barely limping. The semifinals were in 2 days. Marcus was matched against Xyla, a Vorthax tank fighter, female, even larger than Torvik, with 20 years of experience. The other semifinal was between Drexar, a Thaxian champion, and Korvan, another Kryn warrior. The entire station was talking about nothing else. Sports networks ran analysis segments for hours. Xenobiologists debated human physiology. Combat experts tried to break down Marcus's strategy. I found him that evening in the observation deck watching the stars. "How is the shoulder?" I asked. "Fine, popped it back in. Not my first time." "Not your first time dislocating your shoulder in combat?" "Not my first time this year." I stared at him. "How often do you train?" "Every day. Multiple sessions. Running, fighting, conditioning. For 3 years straight." "For this tournament?" He shook his head. "For survival. Tournament is just application." "I do not understand." Marcus looked at me. "On Earth, humans are not the strongest species. Not the fastest. Not the most dangerous. We survived by being the most persistent. By refusing to quit when everything else gave up. By adapting faster than threats could evolve. That is what I trained, not to win fights, to survive them. Long enough that winning becomes inevitable. You are in the semifinals now. Against Xyla. She is bigger than Torvik, stronger, smarter. I know, watched her footage, studied her style, and, he smiled that quiet smile, she will quit eventually. They all do. Semifinal day arrived. The arena was beyond capacity. They had to set up overflow viewing in 3 other stations. The entire sector was watching now. Drexar versus Korvan went first. It was a spectacular fight. Forearms versus berserker rage. Speed versus power. It went the full distance, 3 rounds, and ended with Drexar winning by decision. Barely. Then came Marcus versus Xyla. The Vorlax female entered the arena to thunderous applause. She was magnificent. 2.9 meters of armored muscle. She had watched Marcus's previous fights. She had a plan. Do not chase. Force him to come to her. Use her superior reach and power to control space. Make him engage on her terms. It was the right strategy. On paper. The fight began, and Xyla planted herself in the center of the arena, waiting, daring Marcus to approach. Marcus did not take the bait. He circled, waited, watched. 2 minutes of nothing happening. The crowd started to get restless. 3 minutes. Still nothing. Just 2 fighters watching each other. Xyla made the first move. A probing jab. Marcus slipped it. She tried again. The pattern continued. Xyla would attack. Marcus would evade, but he would not counter. Would not engage. 5 minutes. Xyla was getting frustrated. This was not working. She was supposed to control the pace, but Marcus was not giving her anything to work with. She changed tactics. Started moving forward, trying to cut off the arena, force Marcus into a corner. Marcus let her. He backed up, circling. Always staying mobile but allowing Xyla to push him toward the edge. 10 meters from the wall, Marcus suddenly rushed forward. Xyla, thinking she had him, threw a massive haymaker. Marcus ducked under it, came up inside her guard, and landed a quick combination to her midsection. Then he was gone, back to circling. Xyla tried to follow, but the body shots had landed clean. She was hurt. Not badly, but enough to matter. 8 minutes. Marcus repeated the pattern. Let Xyla push him back, then darted in for quick strikes before disengaging. It was like watching water erode stone. Each exchange did minimal damage, but they added up. 12 minutes. Xyla was breathing hard now. Her movements were slower. The body shots had accumulated. Her stamina was fading. Marcus saw it, moved in. This time he did not disengage. He worked her midsection with surgical precision. Ribs, liver, solar plexus. Every strike placed exactly where it needed to be. Xyla tried to clinch, to use her strength advantage, but her arms were not responding right anymore. The damage was too much. Marcus stepped back, created distance, and waited. Xyla threw one last desperate punch. Missed. Her legs gave out. She collapsed to one knee. The referee started counting. Xyla tried to stand. Really tried, but her body would not cooperate. 10. Knockout. Marcus Reeves was going to the finals. The station went absolutely insane. Humans were celebrating in the corridors. Other species were having existential crises. The bookmakers had stopped taking bets entirely. The human, in the finals, facing Drexar, a 4-armed Thexian champion with 15 years of experience and 12 tournament victories. The finals were scheduled for the next day. 1 fight. Winner takes all. That night I found Marcus doing his usual routine. Running, always running. Tomorrow is the biggest fight of your life, I said. He nodded. Every fight has been the biggest fight of my life. Drexar is different. He is a champion. He has beaten everyone. Every style, every species. I know. Are you scared? He stopped running, looked at me.
Verified.
Been terrified since I got here. I was surprised. You do not show it. Being scared does not mean you quit. Means you are paying attention. Fear is useful. Keeps you alive. But you keep fighting anyway. That is what humans do. We are scared and we do it anyway. Because survival is not about being fearless. It is about being too stubborn to let fear stop you. Finals day. The arena was a madhouse. They had sold viewing rights to half the sector. Billions of beings were watching across hundreds of worlds. Drexar entered first. Champion's privilege. The crowd gave him a hero's welcome. He had earned it. 15 years of dominance, 12 tournament victories. He was a legend. Then Marcus walked out. The ovation he received shocked me. Not just from humans, from everyone. This small, unremarkable human had captured the imagination of the entire sector. Against all odds, against all logic, he had made it to the finals. Underdog stories are universal, I suppose. The referee went through the rules one last time. 3 rounds, 5 minutes each. Victory by knockout, submission, or decision. Fighters ready? Drexar dropped into stance. All 4 arms positioned perfectly. Decades of training evident in every movement. Marcus nodded. Begin. And they fought. Really fought. No waiting. No studying. This was the finals. Both fighters brought everything. Drexar was brilliant. His 4 arms created patterns Marcus could not fully evade. He landed hits. Good ones. Body shots. Head strikes. Combinations that would have ended most fighters. Marcus took the damage and kept coming. Adapted. Adjusted. Found gaps in Drexar's defense. Round 1 ended with Drexar ahead on points. Marcus's face was bruised. His breathing was heavy. Round 2 was even more intense. Drexar tried to finish it. Threw everything he had at Marcus. Power, speed, technique. Marcus survived. Barely. He was bleeding now. One eye was swelling shut. His ribs were probably cracked, but he was still standing. Still fighting. Still adapting. Round 2 ended. Drexar was ahead on points, but I saw something in his expression. Concern. Marcus should have been finished. Should have gone down, but he was still there. Still moving. Still coming forward. Round 3. The final round. 5 minutes to determine the champion. They came out swinging. Both fighters were exhausted now, running on fumes and willpower. 3 minutes in, Drexar landed a perfect combination. Marcus went down. Hard. The referees started counting. At 7, Marcus started to get up. At 9, he was on his feet. Drexar's expression was pure disbelief. How? How was the human still standing? They engaged again, slower now. Every movement cost energy neither fighter had to spare. 4 minutes. Drexar was slowing down. The pace was killing him. His arms were getting heavier. Marcus saw it, moved in. Landed a solid combination to Drexar's midsection. Drexar countered, caught Marcus with an uppercut that should have ended it. Marcus staggered. Did not fall, kept his feet. 30 seconds left. Both fighters were barely standing, swinging on instinct and muscle memory. Drexar threw everything into one last combination. All 4 arms, every bit of strength he had left. Marcus slipped inside the attack, drove his shoulder into Drexar's chest, and executed a perfect hip throw. Drexar hit the mat. 10 seconds left. Drexar tried to get up. His body would not cooperate. 5 seconds. 4, 3, 2, 1. The bell rang. The referee checked both fighters. Drexar could not continue. Exhaustion. Complete system failure from sustained exertion.
Winner by technical knockout. The new Galactic Combat Champion, Marcus Reeves.
I do not remember much of what happened next. Just noise, celebration, chaos, humans crying and cheering, other species standing in stunned silence trying to process what they had just witnessed. Marcus accepted the trophy with the same quiet calm he had shown all tournament, gave a short speech about honor and respect. Then he left. I found him an hour later, alone in the medical bay getting his injuries treated. "Congratulations, champion," I said. He shrugged, winced from the pain. "Just survived longer than everyone else. That is not nothing. No, but it is also not special. Any human could have done this. We are built for it. Persistence, endurance, refusal to quit. That is what we are. You changed everything," I said. "The entire sector will see humans differently now." He looked at me with those quiet, dark eyes. "Good, maybe they will think twice before assuming soft means weak. Before thinking fragile means breakable. What will you do now? Go home? Keep training? For next year's tournament?" He shook his head. "For survival. Tournament was just practice. Real life is harder." And with that, Marcus Reeves, the human who did not train to win but trained to survive, who became champion through patience and persistence, walked out of the medical bay and into history. Me, I went back to my office, pulled up the registration for next year's tournament, and stared at the human applications coming in. There were hundreds. All of them trained the same way Marcus had. all of them bringing that same terrifying patience. I realized something then. Marcus had not won the tournament for himself. He had won it for his entire species, proven something, shown the galaxy what humans were capable of when they stopped trying to be something else and just embraced what they already were. Survivors. Adapters. The species that simply would not quit. And now they were coming. Not to prove anything, just to do what humans do. Outlast. Outthink. Outwait. Survive until everyone else quits trying. I looked at those applications and felt something I had not felt in 93 cycles of running tournaments. Fear. Real fear. Not of violence or danger. Fear of inevitability. Because I finally understood. Humans did not need to be the strongest or fastest or most dangerous. They just needed to be the last ones standing. And they always were. Always. The tournament would never be the same. The galaxy would never be the same. And somewhere on Earth Marcus Reeves was probably going for a run. Training. Preparing. Surviving. Because that is what humans do. That is all they have ever done. And somehow, terrifyingly, it is enough. It is always enough.